Hello everyone, let us solve this WAEC question on the board. The question says, a ladder 10 meters long is leaned against a wall x meters high. The distance between the wall and the foot of the ladder is 2 meters longer than the height of the wall. Calculate the value of x. Okay, this seems like geometry. We have to picture out the information we were given before we know where to start from. First of all, it says a ladder 10 meters long. A ladder, I'm sure you know ladder now, 10 meters long. The ladder is 10 meters long. It is leaned against a wall x meters high. Okay, let me use my ruler. So this is the wall. Here is the ladder. The ladder is 10 meters long. It's leaned against a wall x meters high. This is the wall, and the wall is what? X meters. And this ladder of 10 meters is leaned against this wall, something like this. Okay, the ladder is leaned against the wall. Remember, the ladder is 10 meters. So here is 10 meters. Next thing says, the distance between the wall and the foot of the ladder is 2 meters longer. Okay, the distance between the wall and the foot of the ladder. Here is the foot of the ladder. Okay, the distance between the wall and the foot of the ladder is 2 meters longer than the height of the wall. What is the height of the wall? The height of the wall is x meters. So the height of the wall is x meters. Now, if the height of the wall is x meters and the length here, the distance from the wall to the foot of the ladder is 2 meters longer than the height. That means the distance is 2 meters longer than this height. 2 meters longer than x meters. So 2 meters more means you add 2 meters to this. You can represent it by saying 2 plus x in parentheses meters, or 2 meters plus x meters. Like this, 2 plus x meters. Yes. The distance between the wall and the foot of the ladder is 2 meters longer than the height. 2 meters more than the height. And we have to calculate the value of x. Yes, we have been able to picture out the information we were given, and from this we can see that it's looking like Pythagoras theorem. Exactly, that's what we are going to work with. Follow me till the end. So in dealing with Pythagoras theorem, we say the hypotenuse raised to the power of 2 is equal to opposite raised to the power of 2 plus adjacent raised to the power of 2. And we know the hypotenuse is the longest side, and any of these sides can be opposite, and either one can also be adjacent. So let's just say this is adjacent and this is opposite. So our hypotenuse is 10. Remember, I'm doing away with the meters. By the end of the calculation, we include the meters back. So hypotenuse raised to the power of 2 is 10 raised to the power of 2. Opposite raised to the power of 2 is what? 2 plus x raised to the power of 2. And then adjacent raised to the power of 2 is what? X raised to the power of 2. So we have to expand this. Okay, now let's go down. 10 raised to the power of 2 is 10 multiplied by 10, which is 100. 2 plus x raised to the power of 2 is the same thing as what? 2 plus x multiplied by 2 plus x squared. Now let's open this bracket. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. 2 multiplied by x is what? plus 2x. Now, x multiplied by 2 is also 2x, and x multiplied by x is x squared plus x squared. This x squared comes down. Okay, so we just expanded this. 2 multiplied by 2, 2x, 2 multiplied by x, 2x. X multiplied by 2 is still 2x. Sorry, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. 2 multiplied by x is 2x. X multiplied by 2 is 2x. And x multiplied by x is x squared. And this x squared has been here included. Now we can see we have to combine this x squared. They are like terms. Combine this x, 2x also. They are like terms also. And then we can bring this 4 to the other side of the equal sign. Therefore, we have 100. When this 4 comes here, it turns to what? Minus 4 equal to plus 2x will give you 4x, and x squared plus x squared is going to give you 2x squared. So 100 minus 4 gives us 96 equal to 4x plus 2x squared. If we observe this has taken us to quadratic equation. Yes, quadratic equation. We can see the highest power of the unknown is what? 2. That is quadratic. So when solving quadratic equation, you have to move everything to one side, except you are trying to use the completing the square method, and check if it is factorizable. So let's move this 96 over here. It turns to negative. Therefore, here we now have 0. There is nothing here. So here we have, let's rearrange it. Let's write the 2x squared before the 4x. So we have 2x squared plus 4x. And when the 96 comes here, it turns to what? Minus 96. Remember, we can rewrite this. We can transpose all this. We can bring this to this side and bring this to this side. Okay? When you say 2 plus 4 is equal to 6, you can also say 6 is equal to 2 plus 4. It's the same thing. Therefore, we are now going to transpose this. These three numbers comes here. So we have 2x squared plus 4x minus 96 is equal to 0, which is a quadratic equation. Okay, so I'll wipe this aspect. Alright, okay, let me just wipe this. We don't need this anymore. So we continue from here. Now, before we move ahead, we are going to divide everything by 2 so that this quadratic identity and the identity here can have a coefficient of 1. Since everything can be divided by 2, 0 divided by 2 also still gives us 0. So this 2 goes with this 2. We are left with x squared plus 4 divided by 2 is now 2x. 96 divided by 2 is now 48 equal to 0. Now I'm going to move this equation up here. Okay, now when factorizing, the moment this is not more than 1, assuming it is more than 1, yeah, the coefficient of this x here, we'll have to multiply before we look for factors. But for now, we are going to check what two numbers can we multiply to get 48, and when we add them together, we get this coefficient 2 here. Okay, what two numbers? You see that these two numbers are 8 and 6, plus 8 and minus 6. Yes, it's a very long story. So when you multiply plus 8 multiplied by minus 6, plus times minus gives you minus. 8 times 6 gives you 48, which is this 48 here. And when you add it together, plus 8 plus minus 6, you get plus 2. So therefore, we are going to use plus 8 and minus 6 to represent these two x here. So we have x squared plus 8x minus 6x. So plus 8x minus 6x is the same thing as what? 2x. And here is still minus 48 equal to 0. Now we can factorize. Yes, we can factor out those things. You group them into groups of 2. we can group this first one and also this second one. So here, the common factor here is x. We put the x outside. X here, you get x squared divided by x is x. Okay, x squared means x times x divided by x. 1x takes 1x remaining x. So plus 8x divided by x takes x remaining 8. And here, what is common here? 6 is common. So we have minus 6 outside. 6 cancels 6 remaining x. And 6 in 48, we have 8. Okay. Remember, this is plus because this is minus 6. Okay. Minus 6 divided by minus 48, you get plus equal to 0. You must take note of your signs, or else you might end up with the wrong answer. Now we have factorized. We see there is a common factor between these two numbers. The common factor is what? X plus 8. There is x plus 8 here and there is x plus 8 here. Therefore, we are going to factor out x plus 8. X plus 8 here cancels x plus 8 remaining x. Okay? And the same thing here. X plus 8 cancels x plus 8 remaining minus 6 equal to 0. So when we have something like this, multiplication, this is telling you that you multiply two different numbers and you get 0. The only way you can multiply two numbers to get 0 is if one of those numbers are 0. That means this can either be 0 or this would be 0. So either x plus 8 is equal to 0 or x minus 6 is equal to 0. And when you collect like term, you say that x can either be minus 8 or x would be plus 6. And for the purpose of this question, the distance of x cannot be a negative value. Distance cannot be negative. So we have two different possible answers depending on the question you are looking for the answer, the solution you are looking for. What we are actually looking for here is a distance between the height of the wall. Yes, the height of the wall is x meter high against a wall x meters high. So the height of the wall cannot be negative. Therefore, x is equal to 6. So I think you should be able to have learned something if possible. If you would like to get access to more questions solved explicitly like this in this way, then follow my channel, like, subscribe, comment, and engage with my activities. See you in the next class.